The Visconti Homo Sapiens Bronze Age, a true icon of the fountain pen world. I've never devoted an entire video to this stupendous pen. I'm absolutely delighted to do so today. The inspiration for the Visconti Homo Sapiens Bronze Age goes back to the origins of man as they were trying to eke a life for themselves out of the unforgiving wilderness, and they were utilizing the latest technology, building tools from obsidian, a type of volcanic glass that can be sharpened to a fine edge and worked with in many ways. Now fast forward 500,000 or more years to modern man, and this fountain pen celebrates this craftsmanship by making a fountain pen out of an incredible substance with the resin, this basaltic volcanic material mixed with equal parts of resin in a very secret formula at Visconti that makes it virtually indestructible, scratch-proof, and has a hygroscopic feel in the hand, which means that it absorbs some of the moisture. These are the basic building blocks of this stupendous, interesting, and compelling pen. So secret formulas in resins are always a lot of fun in fountain pens. There's everything in resins from denim to cotton to all sorts of other materials to give them interesting feels or properties, but often you can't really see where this money and this value went. But with the Visconti Homo Sapiens, it is evident that it's made from this volcanic material. It has this tactile feel. It has these strength properties, these scratch-proof properties, and it's just such an interesting substance. It's really deceptively light considering that it's made from stone, and this gives it a certain interesting contradictory feel that adds to its mystery and its just interesting nature and makes it that much more fun to write with. It truly is a remarkable substance that's only available through Visconti. One of the truly interesting things about this material is that it is so elemental. It's literally the building blocks of Italy, the volcanic blood, infused the essence of Italy in this pen. The story of the Visconti Homo Sapiens begins back in 1988 when Dante Del Vecchio and Luigi Poli founded Visconti in Florence to get fountain pens back to old world craftsmanship and to make a very powerful and interesting brand, thoroughly Italian, incredibly expressive, and very, very interesting. Dante Del Vecchio was inspired by the history, the culture, and just the setting of Florence for the design of his pens, and he has produced some amazing pens over the years, not the least of which is this Visconti Homo Sapiens. Let's discuss some of the amazing design features of this extraordinary pen, and let's begin with one of my personal favorites, the clip. The clip is spring-loaded, it's incredibly effective, but it's also a symbol of something even more magnificent. It's meant to show the gentle arch span of Ponte Vecchio, and it looks on its own like an ancient Roman bridge. But the idea goes even further. The idea is that bridges are a way of connecting people and of unifying them through the written word. I love this concept. I love that the idea is that we're bringing people together, we're forming communities, and we're expressing ourselves and sharing ourselves with extraordinary penmanship and incredible sentiments that are shared in a very physical way. Love it. Next, let's talk about the hook-safe cap mechanism. This is another extraordinary innovation. It's just such a perfect middle ground between a screw cap and a snap cap. So it's a way to get into the pen quickly so that you can write. You can use it for note-taking. You can use it for any sort of quick jotting. But your ink will stay wetter longer and it'll be very well protected, which is nice. And there'll also be less wear on the threads. When you screw and unscrew a cap constantly, eventually those threads start to wear, you get wobbly caps and everything else. But this is a perfect compromise between those two ways of opening your pen. Also, the hook-safe mechanism itself is really interesting when you look at it. It almost seems as if it's carved into the pen, like some ancient modified Greek key pattern. It's out of the way enough that it doesn't feel awkward when you hold the pen, but there's a certain beauty to it. The slots are just interestingly curved, and I think it's a fantastic feature of this iconic pen. We couldn't discuss the Visconti Homo Sapiens without mentioning the power fill system. It is an extraordinary way to fill a pen. It fills it quickly and it fills it very well with a tremendous ink capacity at 1.5 milliliters. It's very simple to do. You simply unscrew it, take the plunger back, plunge it down. I prefer to do this twice. I feel if the nib is submerged and you do it 2 times, it just builds up more of a vacuum and it just seems to fill it with even more ink. Besides, can't hurt anything. So once you do that, you then screw it back down again, clean it up thoroughly, especially the feed. One of the things about filling your pens that I've noticed more and more is that if you don't thoroughly clean your feed, sometimes the ink, as it moves down to the nib through capillary action, will super saturate your feed and you'll get a little bit of drip and you think that your pen is leaking when in fact you just needed to be a little bit more tidy as you were cleaning up the nib, the feed, and the bit around the section. Now, the vac fill system is very hearty. Its components are made out of titanium, so it will not corrode over time. Now, you can't really see inside this pen, so a lot of that is spared any obsessive scrutiny. In a way, that's a plus. I find that when you have a demonstrator pen, you tend to really over clean it because you're trying to flush it of everything. But this kind of opaque pen, you just don't really know how clean it is, and maybe a person like me is better off that way. Another touch that I absolutely adore about this pen is that all the metal fittings are made out of bronze. No surprise there, since it's called the Bronze Age. And over time, they will patina and age a bit, making it very unique to you and further rooting it into Italian history and materials. Mine is starting to go a little bit greenish on the clip, and I absolutely love this. Now, if you don't, you can certainly polish it, but I'm leaving mine because I love the effect. It's just another neat, interesting touch. Let's talk about the weight of this pen, and of course, much of this is very subjective, depending on how you like your pens and how you want them to feel. Personally, when a pen gets over 40 grams, it starts to feel a bit heavy to me. This one is 42. However, that's with the cap on or posted. I do not post this pen. Unposted, it's a very light 26 grams. And considering that the pen is made out of volcanic dust and gives this appearance as if it were carved out of stone, that is tremendously light, and it gives it a bit of that mysterious, light, heavy, contradictory feel while you use this fantastic tactile and interesting pen. Let's talk about the nibs of the Visconti Homo Sapiens Bronze Age. There is certainly a lot to say here. So originally, these pens came with a 23 karat 950 Palladium Dream Touch nib, another innovation by Dante Del Vecchio. Then that nib was replaced by the slightly less romantic but marginally more reliable 18 karat gold nib. Now, if you are afraid about the quality control of these nibs,
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
I think you probably have some reason to be. Personally, I think this is a time when you need to reach out to your pen seller and to ask them to check your pen before it ships. Certainly someone like Brendan Schmidt at Atlas Stationers would be absolutely happy to do that for you, or anyone else that you deal with normally. That kind of personal service is very important in a situation like this because it truly seems like an issue with these nibs, sadly. Now, I have never tried that Dream Touch nib, but I certainly would like to. When it was smooth and reliable, it was like nothing else from what I hear, but I've yet to get my hands on one. The nibs of the Homo Sapiens Bronze Age come in extra fine, fine, medium, broad, or stub for even more dramatic writing. Mine is in a medium. This perhaps a bit more narrow than your typical European medium nib, but the writing experience is transcendent. This pen puts down quite a bit of ink that just glides across the page effortlessly. Never stutters, never sputters, never stalls. It's just an uninterrupted, luscious flow of thick ink that draws spectacular lines across the page. It's an absolute transcendent joy to use this pen, and it's incredibly inspiring and one of my favorite pens to use for letters, for correspondence, for any time that I want my lines to be bold, uninterrupted, fantastically flowing. I want to enjoy the experience and not have a bit of worry about any kind of misplaced, mislaid line. Absolutely perfect. Another fun touch with this fountain pen is that it's customizable in the finial. It is placed there magnetically, so you can replace it with a zodiac sign, with a gemstone, with your initials, and that's a lot of fun. So you can put a little bit of yourself into your pen. So who am I when I reach for this pen? I reach for my Visconti Homo Sapiens when I have a lot of ideas and I'm looking for inspiration, and I don't want my pen to slow me down. I don't want any skipping. I don't want any false starts. I just want to get my ideas out on the paper and have this tremendous ink flow backing me up. I want it to be a beautiful experience of incredible silky smoothness once that nib touches the paper, and I want to be able to write in a frenzy of ideas and swirling cursive script. So I also reach for this pen when I'm looking to get in touch with a bit of Italy. It reminds me of Florence and some of the beautiful places there, and anytime I miss it, it's a lot of fun to connect through this pen. I mean, it's literally a piece of Italy within this pen, and it's been inspired by all those years of culture and all that artistic history. So I find inspiration in that as well. It's a tremendous pen also to use anytime you don't want to have to worry about your pen getting damaged or scratched or anything else. It is a very tough pen, although I've never really tested it because I adore this pen and I do baby it quite a bit. But still, being scratch proof and break proof is very nice and gives you a lot of confidence to take it if you're traveling or if you want to take it to your office or out into the world. So it's an absolutely stupendous, beautiful pen with so much design, so much history in it. Dante Del Vecchio did such an incredible job in crafting a true icon in the fountain pen world, and when you think about it, there are very few true icons, but the Visconti Homo Sapiens is certainly one. And considering that you can get it for around $700 US, it is expensive, but it's not ridiculous. It's more aspirational. It's certainly a grail pen, but it's something you can work hard, save for, have, and cherish for the rest of your life. And to me, that means everything. So what do you think about the Visconti Homo Sapiens Bronze Age? Is it one of your favorite pens, or are you baffled by how much passion we have for it, those of us who love it? Let me know in the comments. And thank you for watching. If you've reached this point in the video, please subscribe. I'd love to have you on this journey with us. From the pen, we go to some extraordinary places. And if you'd like to support this channel even more, please become a member. I'd love to have you behind the scene for our Pen Pal group and all the fun goings on back there as well. So I'd love to see you there. So I make new videos all the time, and I have a live show Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. So I can promise you, we will see each other again very, very soon, further up the road. So take care of yourself.